have quite a lot in the market, so let's get some sense of what is happening. Of course, this week is going to be also really big. The Nigerian Stock Exchange, Seplat, Access Bank, and three other companies are being moved into the premium board of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. That's what you call the Premier League of the Nigerian stock market, where you have the likes of, Dangote Cement and Forty Oil and a few others. So you have about 5 or 6 companies joining that league this week, and the Nigerian Stock Exchange is making a big show of that. That shows that you have more companies in that Premier League, and you need to keep eyes on them. You need to work really hard as a listed company to make the premium board. Let's bring in Valiance here from Afrinvest to give us Afrinvest perspectives on the market as we start effectively a full second trading week in the month of April, and that's our Q2. Good morning. Hope you had a weekend.
Yes.
Hope you're not upset here this morning about your club side being thrashed over the weekend. I didn't watch any. I just heard it on the news. It's better. It helps moderate my blood pressure when it comes to football clubs and all that. But I saw a lot of guys arguing over who does what and whether UEFA was trying to be partial to some football club. I think it was Man City that took the cut.
I'm not
big
on football.
Oh, okay, it's good. It's good. That's nice. So let's it's good. It makes two of us. Now you're not sentimental about it, but you're sentimental when it comes to stocks.
Yes.
You keep an eye on stocks.
Yes,
so that means you watch the news very well. And the news that rattled the market last week was about Oando very quickly.
Yeah.
And investors came really strong for this company once the news hit the wire.
Yeah. Given the fact that the SEC decided to lift the ban on their shares, the trading, we saw a lot of investors actually try to take position in that stock, and we could largely that sentiment could largely be attributable to the fact that so far the oil and gas index, companies in the oil and gas index have actually performed positively. Coming from 2016, where we had a lot of foreign exchange constraints, and the year prior to that, there were issues with peace in the Niger Delta, but all that moderated in 2017. And as such, we saw that these companies actually posted very positive earnings. You're looking at the likes of Seplat, Forte, those companies. So it was
number one.
Yes, it was. Yeah, Mobile. Yeah. So it was only natural that investors, when this ban was lifted, investors flocked into, quote unquote, the next big oil and gas stock, in anticipation for their earnings. If you can remember, their earnings are not out yet because there was a delay because of this suspension and the issues they had with the SEC. So I think that reaction was investors trying to lock in quickly before.
In the same week, as I'm cutting in there respectfully, please, was Oando Board of Directors also approved last week the financial statements that we're expecting. So all that seemed to be, so news and earnings seem to be a catalyst for the oil and gas space.
Definitely. We had anticipated that when the announcement of the earnings results comes out, because initially they had left it open and they said they would announce it pending when the SEC concludes their investigation. But when the news was released, it could now speak to the fact that, they are done with what they decided to do, and we are moving forward. So as such,
we're taking on the investigators. That's what Oando's folks must have said. We're taking on the investigators. They are allowed in. Let them do their job. Meantime, as a company, we're moving forward. We're releasing our earnings. They held a board meeting. It was approved. Then they're sticking with second week in May for the release of these earnings, bearing any other unforeseen occurrence. But right now we have about 30 days.
Yeah, and also bearing in mind that soon after their full year results come out, their Q1 results are also expected to come in just about the same time. So the outlook for Oando is pretty positive. But then again, it still depends on, Nigerian investors have a very funny way of reacting. So they rush in, and if earnings are not as impressive as they thought, the company's share price is going to suffer, because we are going to start seeing a whole lot of sell-offs with the same volumes and rigor drive that boosted it in the first place is going to decline sharply. I hope that's not the case for Oando.
That they just have to, the numbers would meet the expectations on outlook that this company was held down for about 170 days, which seemed to be a record on matters of this nature.
Definitely.
But again, beyond Oando, if we're tracking Oando and the leadership change at the SEC, do you expect anything significant this morning? We all seem to have slept over the leadership change of Friday, and this morning perhaps heads would have been a bit cooler from investors, local and foreign, but still watching what the Ministry of Finance is doing with the SEC and how the new SEC team, so technically speaking, will move from here.
Well, the management of Oando, so far, there hasn't been any criminal offense brought against anybody, at least to my knowledge. And I think that the management is going to keep doing what they are doing. They are going to keep trying to make sure the company stays profitable. So in the long run, yes, there may be new regulations, there may be stricter regulations by the SEC and the Ministry of Finance. There may be some requirements of more transparency, as it were, because they had issues with their share structure and people complaining, oh, I bought shares in Oando, but it's reflecting as Oando somewhere else. Those kind of issues.
But do you expect the new SEC leadership to hit the ground running from this morning?
Yes, I do. You know, they as much as they would want to make sure that there's a smooth transition, there's also that factor of want to be seen to know what they are doing, and also want to be seen to take a proper hard stance if the need be. So yes, they are going to hit the ground running.
Because all eyes will be on the SEC right now.
Yes, everybody's what next? Is the question. What
next at the SEC in terms of confidence, in terms of rebuilding?
And which is very important too, because if you look at what that speaks to investor confidence, by the time investors are certain that regulators know what they are doing and they are doing what is right, it gives you some kind of respite that, okay, you're not investing in companies that are not properly managed or are not properly regulated. So them wanting to make a show would definitely also speak to investor confidence.
I like that.